Maybe you should go and do some contemplating.
Right reasons, right reasons. Can't put a girl for all the right reasons. Right reasons, right reasons. You can get a girl for all 4 reasons.
I'm the Bachelorette and I'm rapping to you poolside. Here to find true love, one man from a
Hi, this is Rachel McElroy.
Hi, this is Griffin McElroy.
And this is Rose Buddies.
It's a podcast where we talk about the Bachelor shows. You know them, you love them, your parents love them, your aunt loves them, won't stop talking about them, and we're like that. We're like two your aunts.
I say ants.
Well, that's because I'm from Paris.
Should we do a French segment on this show?
I like to think the whole show is kind of a French segment for me because I just bring that Parisian sort of flair to it. Mm-hmm. Dear listeners, Rachel and I have been in a monogamous relationship for 5 years now, and it's been going so great. But I'm going to mix things up here a little bit by asking you, the listener, to just open up that brain mouth and let us make out with your mind.
Okay. I didn't know where you were going with that.
I thought you might get worried about where I was going with that. And that's where I was going with it the whole time. We're talking about this week's Bachelor in Paradise. It was a good week.
I was so excited to record. Do you want to tell everybody what you're drinking? Because I was very loud.
I don't know. Somebody left it. Chris, I think, our friend Chris Parent left it here. It's a raspberry jam, Berliner Weiss. It was in a 4-pack, which makes me think it's good. Like, if I see a beer in a 4-pack and not a 6-pack, I'm like, that's going to be a good beer.
Yeah.
Here's my review. I spilled some on myself. There's your review. Yeah, it was a good week, y'all. Like, this show, after a rocky start where I was so worried about, like, them losing their way, this is peak BIP, y'all. This
Every
is like
episode,
choice.
I have like a low level of anxiety that Rod is going to appear, and when he doesn't appear, I feel this release.
I know. Well, it's not just that. Like, it's not just that this shithead's not on the show anymore. It's that the show is good, and it's good for all the reasons that we love. It is like, we were singing the praises of the intro sequence again, which, like, really tune into it, really, because it summarizes BIP perfectly in that it is this self-referential, self-effacing, both on the macro level, like it's the show looking at itself and being like, this is a clown show for clowns, and each of the people on it saying, I am the clown of the clown show. It's so fucking good, and this week was like a perfect little nugget of it.
It reminds me of like a really good theme song or, you know, intro song. Like, you just get hype. You watch that and you're just like, I can't wait to go to paradise.
Let's get started talking about it. I missed like the first 10 minutes of the show yesterday, so I'm a little bit foggy because for our friends, not just you made an amazing meat sauce, red sauce, for some pasta, and I put together some Parmesan garlic rolls that really flooded my basement.
Yeah, I mean, it was pasta and garlic bread. I didn't feel like it was super fancy.
Your red sauce was out of control. You got to drop that recipe in the group. I tried to think of a way to shorten the word recipe right there, and there's no good way to do it. Drop that res.
Yeah.
Drop that sepi. That's not bad.
There wasn't a recipe, so
You just freestyled that one off the dome?
yeah.
God. Maybe you're the one bringing the Parisian.
Well, you know me, I don't like to brag.
It's true.
You know, you like to.
For me, it's not bragging. I just want to keep people updated on all the great things I've been up to.
So what is bragging then?
No, I'm doing it for them, just like keep it, because I don't want to be taught like a year from now talking about some great thing I did a year ago, and people be like, "Why didn't you tell us about that?"
Okay, it's a service to the listeners.
It's a subscription-based Griffin update service.
And at no cost to you.
No, not at all. What happened on the show Bachelor in Paradise?
So Monday night's episode is kind of leading up to the rose ceremony, and the big drama that carries over is Jared and Ashley. Ashley has been crying pretty much nonstop, and Jared finally kind of confronts her and is like, Why are you here?
Why are you still doing this?
Like, yeah, why did you do this?
Jared had threatened to leave the show at the end of the last episode, although that does not end up happening.
Yeah.
It was a fairly empty threat.
Well, and he kind of calls her because she's like, I came to get over you. And he's like, yeah, but you knew I would be here. How did you think you would get over me if I was here? And she's like, oh, I thought maybe I'd like somebody more. But it's
She
just
hasn't
become
tried.
clear.
She
Yeah.
has not tried even a little
She's been
bit.
there like a day. And so Jared says, Ashley, I like Kayla. And Ashley's like, are you sure you don't want to be with me ever? And Jared's like, I can't believe we're talking about this.
Again.
Yeah. And so Ashley goes to Jorge and kind of pours her heart out. And Jared starts talking to Kayla because he's just spent a bunch of time with Ashley. And as he's talking to Kayla, you can hear Ashley crying in the background.
This has to be a work. This
which
is a shoot.
could either be a fun edit so that they are
Quote unquote fun at. I mean, at this point, I'm so completely over Ashley. Not just like, I'm over her so fully and completely that I have just no sympathy. This is the fourth time that this has happened. And if I did have sympathy at the beginning of this episode, I certainly did not by the end of it. Because it's just like, I can't believe anything other than the fact that this is her character. And I think she's like leaning into it because how many times does a person have to tell you like,
well, she thinks she's going to get her way. Like she thinks that she has the kind of power where she can make something happen.
what evidence does she have that that's ever been true on this television show?
I think, and this is going to sound like a value judgment, but I think that she is a woman that is used to being persistent and getting what she wants.
I think that's true of every human being on this television show. I mean, every single one of these like attractive people are probably doing okay, and that's a thing that like I have to keep stepping back and like thinking like, okay, this is a work, but like I can't. I have no. There is nothing left inside of my heart. There is no more sympathy for Ashley I. It hasn't even been here this season.
And it's not just like a tragic love story, because, for example, Ashley tells Jorge, the bartender, I would rather be in a body cast than have to see what I see with Kayla and Jared.
It's not a tragic love story because Jared has never... I think they dated for like a minute on the last season a bit.
Yeah, and that was mainly him just trying to like give it a shot to see, you know?
And it didn't.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, right? Because this is one of those like points of friction where when you start talking about that capital T, capital R, true romance, but also it being a television show that has to be entertaining, there's a point of friction in that like I, the viewer, don't give a fuck about this anymore. ABC, Ashley, Jared, I don't fucking care anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't fucking cared all season. I barely fucking cared last season.
Yeah.
You have to stop. Please stop with it. Please stop with this. Please stop.
Well, don't blow your rage wad this early in the episode.
But this is the whole episode, and the episode after is
yeah,
the
and that's what I'm saying. We've got more to cover, so.
But a lot of I will say that a lot of the Ashley Jared stuff was like, it was basically the same thing that happened like 6 times over the course of the 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So maybe we could condense it by being angry about it at the front.
Up front at the
and
top.
and then more dumb stuff with Ashley and Jared happens.
Yeah. Meanwhile, so they're on the downswing, if you can call it that, which would imply there was an upswing, which there wasn't. But
No.
on the upswing, Carly and Evan.
Okay, I literally turned around to like take these amazing, beautiful garlic parmesan rolls out of the oven, and when I turned back around, they were like kissing and in love. So what happened?
So Carly actually feels kind of guilty, I think, about what a hard time she's given Evan.
Oh, you mean like how she said she made her lady boner go flaccid and run away?
Yeah, something to that extent.
And how she can't believe he had 3 kids?
Yeah, none of this is stuff that she said to him, but she has been very cool to him. And so she said, you know, I've had such a good time with you lately. And I'm sorry, you know, that I've been so standoffish about us. And he just immediately kisses her.
Seems a little bit better than their last one, but this time they weren't. They
Yeah,
didn't
she's
have
not
hundreds
complaining.
of screaming fans, and they didn't have a hot, spicy produce in their mouth.
She's not complaining about the kissing anymore, which I don't know if that means it's gotten better or if she's just gotten used to it.
But that is the Evan and Carly story,
Yeah.
kind
No,
of.
that's true. That's the subtitle.
I just need America to sit me down and tell me how to feel about Evan and Carly, because I think they've both done, like, Carly said some really heinous stuff. Evan has done some really heinous stuff. And now, like, this show is like, but they cute, aren't they? And I think about it, I'm like, they are kind of cute.
Yeah,
but
there are examples of this working, right? Like, this isn't a bad sign necessarily that she wasn't into it at first, right?
Well, I guess not. I mean, I don't know. It is, again, it's a TV show.
I would say that I don't think I have any.
Seth and Summer.
Well, no, I was just going to say my experience is that if the feeling isn't there early, it's never going to come.
Yes.
But I think that there's a possibility that she was just kind of superficial and maybe she's...
I think she was waiting for more boys to come in.
Yeah, I mean, and there still could be somebody...
still boys to come in, including that big W. Where is Wells?
Oh,
Give us
my
the
gosh.
Wells, Chris. Throw the fucking switch
I
already,
saw in the
dog.
Facebook group that everybody's like, where is Wells? And we have been asking the same
Where's
question.
Wells, though? Every single, like, person that came down the stairs. Where's Wells?
Because we know that Wells and Ashley I have a moment, and every week it seems like Ashley I is going to go home.
Yeah.
And we know that she won't go home until after Wells arrives.
Including this week. Let's get to that. Let's get to that rose ceremony.
Okay. So the big question is who is Daniel going to give his rose to? And Daniel's kind of romancing the ladies because he knows that he's up for grabs. Because I guess apparently him and Sarah are not as on again as we thought they were.
Yeah, the show didn't really hit too hard on this. I think it's because, weirdly enough, maybe they had one of the more sort of adult situation, like one of the more mature relationships where, like, they had that, you remember they had that kiss and she was like, it was all right.
Yeah.
I think, like, the heat wasn't necessarily there, and so both of them were kind of just, like, cool with the other person just drifting away.
Yeah.
And they just didn't make a big deal out of it, so we didn't see it on TV.
So Sarah bakes him half a cake for his half birthday.
This was cute.
And so then he brings the cake back to the group. And the twins who are trying to win over Daniel are like, oh, shoot, what are we going to do? And so the twins decide that one of them is going to kiss Daniel.
Y'all, this whole sequence is the most, like, Little Rascals shit, like, I've ever seen on this television production.
Emily decides it should be Haley.
Yeah.
And so Haley is going to give Daniel the kiss.
And in the behind the scenes interview, she's like, nope, please don't make me kiss him. Please do not make me kiss this guy. He's like, no, just one little kiss. It'll be fine. And so Haley and Daniel go to talk, and the talk is bad. It's a bad talk.
Daniel compliments Haley on her butt.
Does he use a simile or metaphor in order to... Probably, right?
You know, he probably does, but I didn't write
Your
it down.
butt's like a good bird. All right, man. Your butt's like 2 turkeys.
That doesn't seem like it'd be good.
You don't even know.
Oh yeah, turkey
Like-
butt is that hot?
But dead, like like frozen turkeys.
Wow,
Not 2 living turkey. You don't want a butt with 2 turkey heads.
like a 10-pounder or
10-pounder.
so like 20 pounds of butt.
20 pounds of butt and a 10-pound pants. That sentence really got away from me there at the end.
So Haley, when Emily was trying to psych Haley up to give the kiss, I thought, oh, she's really going to pour it on this kiss. Like, this isn't just going to be like a little one. This is going to be like, Daniel, I'm really interested in you. And here's a big old fat 5, 10, 15 second make out. No, it was just a little peck.
It was maybe that's the type of kisses that he likes.
Yeah.
This is like a bird thing.
I just pictured Daniel coming back to the group and like raising his hands triumphantly and be like, I got to first, guys. Haley and I just got to first.
I had my second kiss ever. Y'all, this kiss was like straight up like the 2 kids at the end of Love Actually.
Yeah.
That's about where we're at here.
That's good
It was
comparison.
it was not steamy or passionate.
It was chaste. If in like a Nathaniel Hawthorne situation, they would call it a chaste kiss.
Yeah, absolutely. So then Daniel actually approaches Ashley I, who's
Yeah.
having her own little fit out in the jungle somewhere.
Yeah, and he says some kind of funny stuff. He's like, Jared's not that good looking. In fact, he's very ugly.
And he's like saying this, like interrupting her while she's like, no, he's super beautiful and perfect. He's like, he's not that attractive, actually. He's an ugly man.
And then Daniel starts giving her this advice of like that she just needs to go out and sleep with a bunch of guys to like get over him.
It was weirdly like that scene in 40-Year-Old Virgin where they're telling him just to like go hook up with a bunch of women and
Yeah.
that would make it, only it was Daniel potentially talking to somebody who he could be dating on the TV show.
Well, and then he has this aside with the camera where he starts talking about all the reasons that he's interested in Ashley as a virgin. And then he goes on to say why it would be good to have sex with a virgin. And then they put up a please stand by visual to suggest that he gets very graphic and they can't even air it.
Which is, you've done me a great service there, ABC, because if he got as clinical as you suggest, you're right. I want no part of that.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with it. But they had like a kind of a cute interaction. Like I feel like Daniel and Ashley I had these nice interactions both on their date and in this conversation. So we get to the rose ceremony, and all the roses go to the people you think they would go to.
Yeah, Grant and Lace, Josh and Amanda, Nick and Jen, Vinny and Izzy, Evan and Carly, Jared and Kayla. Daniel.
Which, by the way, hey, TV show, you try to make it seem like Jared was trying to decide whether or not he wanted to give his rose to Kayla or Ashley I.
Or leave the show.
That's some fucking cognitive dissonance.
Daniel picks Haley, so that means that Ashley and Sarah should go home because they did not get roses.
Here's the thing. It's a shitty thing for Daniel to do. Sarah baked him a sweet cake. Ashley and him seem to have like a nice connection.
Sarah chose him over Christian.
Yeah. And so he picked Haley because she gave him the smallest kiss any human being has ever given to another human being.
I mean, judging from the little after show snippets, he's been hanging out with those twins a lot.
But I think it was I don't think any of us were expecting that to go that way. And I was disappointed, that Sarah went home and that this new relationship between him and Ashley I was going to get shot down. But here's the thing. You can't like Daniel some of the time for being a complete goobus. And then when he does some goobus shit like this, get angry at him. You gotta love him.
You can. You definitely can.
You gotta love him at his best. You gotta love him at his worst.
I don't think you have to, though.
That's our goober boy. I still want to protect him so much.
We figured out how to tell the twins apart.
Emily earrings.
Emily has more earrings than Haley. And so as long as you can see their ears, there is a flaw in this, and that you cannot always see their ears. But when you can, Emily has more earrings. There's an expert level
maneuver where I think Emily has a mole on her, or like a little freckle on the left side of her face, but I can't see it most of the time. It's hard to see.
By the time I remember which one has that, they're off the screen, and then I miss my opportunity.
You gotta move fast.
I know. And so it's a bummer to see Sarah go.
Yep.
We liked Sarah a lot.
This is a good see. It's weird. Like I was so cool on the roster for this season because like I liked Sarah, but I didn't think she was like a particularly entertaining person. But like I've really grown to like her. The twins too. Like I've never been a twins fan, but this season like they've been funny and sympathetic.
I have a hard time reconciling my feelings about the twins because
they've said some bogus shit like I'm the best person here.
They're so immature.
Yeah. Well, they're 23 years old, dude.
Yeah, but even when I was 23, I wasn't like a high school girl anymore,
I was.
No. Well, that would have been difficult for us as a couple, I think.
It would have been.
So Ashley gets in her limo to go home and she's crying. And then there's a point where she says, I can't leave like this, and gets the driver to stop the car. And she goes back to the Rose Palapa, and Nick sees her and audibly groans.
He actually says, Ash, come on.
Yeah. And then Ashley delivers this con that works somehow. It
works so well, and I want to call every person that's been on this show that was there in that fateful palapa and call them and just be like,
I wanted Chris Harrison to swoop in and say, this is not allowed.
This isn't legal. You can't just be like, I don't want to be kicked off this show.
Yeah.
I lost.
She says, I know that I've come here and that I've wasted my opportunity, but, I've gotten some closure with Jared, and since I've been better, and I really recognize that I need to give this a fair shot, and can I have a second chance? And
then straight up, like, my captain style. Like,
everyone says yes.
One at a time. Just
including
like, yes,
Jared.
Including Jared. And at that point, I was like, Jared, you don't deserve love. You don't deserve this relationship with Kayla. It's going to blow up in your face. Like, what are you doing? You know this is not going to happen. You know this is not going to work. We all know this is not going to work.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I think I would have been the person to just be like, no.
I know.
Absolutely
Can we have a
not.
minute to discuss this as a group?
Because A, you had the chance and you didn't do it. B, if we give you another chance, you're still not gonna fucking do it. And C, what if you take away my boo?
Yeah.
It's a competition and you lost it.
Well,
go the fuck home.
All the guys should have stood there and looked at each other and said, "Are you interested in her?"
Is
no.
anybody here interested in dating
No.
Ashley I? No, dang. Okay, well, no, sorry, we talked.
Should we keep her here on the hypothetical chance that someone will arrive and maybe that person will be worthy of her attention? Like, what? Come on, no.
Anyway, they all say yes.
They all say yes.
So she gets to come back on the fucking show, which, like, listen, if you're listening to this, you ever get to be on Survivor and you get voted out and they put out your torch, you're just like, I'd really like to still be on the show. Okay, thank you, everybody.
You guys, I'm sorry about dumping the rice and for losing every single challenge. Now I'm going to start trying.
I'm going to try it second chance style. I would love to win the $1 million instead of you. I'd love to steal your boyfriend. Can I still be on the fucking show, please?
Yeah, that brings up a good point. Like, there are basically no stakes other than
none.
everybody having a good time. And even that seems like enough to be like...
This ruins this show now because, like, there are no stakes. There is nothing. So, like, at this point, everybody who gets voted out should just be like, I'd like to stay.
Hey.
Is that okay?
I'm going to cite the Ashley I precedent of 2 days ago and also request to stay.
I'm not going to find love, but I fucking love getting drunk in a pool and eating lasagna.
Maybe
So,
somebody really hot's going to come and then they could be for me.
maybe we'll see.
Okay, so it's a new day in paradise and it's time for a new man. And that new man is Carl?
Carl? Y'all, this dude, was he on Andy's season?
Yes.
Okay.
Nobody knows who he is. And he is another one of those characters from this season of Bachelor in Paradise where the whole point is that nobody knows who he is.
Which is horrifying because Andy's season was... We figured this out the other day. But the last Bachelorettes have been JoJo, and then Caitlyn, and then Andy. And then... Was Des before or after Andy? Des was
before Andy.
So Andy was 3 Bachelorettes ago.
Yeah.
I couldn't name a single person who was on that season of the television show.
Other than Nick and
Josh.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's more of a horrifying statement about like our culture consumption.
No, but still, nobody knows who he is.
Nobody knows who Carl is. So much so that you will hear us reference this, but like when people talk about him, they say, and so anyway, Haley's hooking up with Kevin, and that's not his name. What?
No, it's not it's Clark. Is it Clark?
Clark?
No. Kirk? Is it Kirk?
No, Kirk was on last season. Broke Carly's heart. Carl. There's like a celebratory like Carl. The best one of those is when Carly can't remember his name. Is like, what's it? Kevin? Carl? Oh, it's my name.
That really was like the best.
Oh man, we were fucking rolling.
Oh, it's so good.
That's like the easiest mnemonic device. It's like if I met a woman named Griffino, you're like, what was her? Garofalo? Griffino?
Oh, it's my name.
It's my name with an O on the end of it.
So Luckily, Carl is relatively attractive. So Emily is a big fan.
I can't believe you'd say that.
Well,
I can't believe you would do that to me. You're just like Izzy.
No. I am saying that Carl's
I was
only
just joshing.
feature.
Every human being on this show is attractive.
Carl's only feature and the only reason that Emily could possibly like him right away is that he is attractive. And I
handsome
found
boy.
out online, although I think Emily does mention it at some point, he is also a firefighter like Grant is.
Yeah, they mentioned that during the show.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't
It's a
notice that.
regular firefighter convention.
Yep. And also arriving shortly after Carl is Brett.
Brett! Well, okay, so Brett walks in with a little bit of prop comedy, which I always appreciate.
Brett is the one from Andy's season, and his whole gimmick was that he got out of the limo with a lamp that he had stolen from the hotel room because his mother had told him never meet a woman without a gift.
I enjoyed that.
I think he got eliminated the first night.
Oh, yes. No, because he had to go to jail for theft. I liked that bit.
And they
during
show
his
us that
thing.
clip,
Yeah,
too,
they
which
show
is
us that bit.
surprising.
But he also walks down the steps like with a lamp.
With a lamp.
And to like say like, hey, I'm Brett. I'm the lamp guy. And it's like, I'll be honest with you, Brett. I feel like you're really pushing the point a little too hard here. But if you had not done that,
I know.
you would be Carl to me.
It was weird that they took the extra step with Brett.
Yeah.
Maybe because the lamp prop seemed so strange and they wanted to set it up
They had to
correctly.
explain it somehow.
Because nobody else got that treatment of like, here is my limo exit, so
Right.
you remember me. Anyway, so Brett and Carl both have date cards as per tradition, and they both get to pick a lady to bring on the date with them. And all of the women are excited. Izzy in particular is excited about Brett.
It says her stomach feels like it's flipping, seeing this
She
handsome,
sees
handsome man.
him, and he let's kind of describe him. So there's Brett, who comes in, very tall, dark man, beard.
Kind of looks like Robbie. I don't know how else to. Don't you think? Like, I feel like he looks like Robbie with that beard and the well manicured.
Did Robbie
beard and
have
hair.
a beard?
Yeah, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice big beard. Not a big beard, but like, it was a beard.
Well, he wasn't as dark as Brett, though.
Okay.
I can't picture Robbie with a similar beard as Brett. But so Izzy describes him as kind of her exact type, which kind of calls into question Vinny, who looks nothing like Brett.
Yeah. It's a bad break.
So
That's a shame.
So Brett talks to Kayla because he's trying to figure out kind of who's up for
Oh
grabs.
my god, I forgot about this sequence.
Yeah. And Ashley gets all excited when she sees Brett talking to Kayla because Ashley's like, oh, maybe Brett and Kayla will go on this date together. That'd be so great for me.
Brett, this is what's bonkers. When both these guys walk in, we get a little cutaway from Ashley talking about how they're attractive, but I don't like them even a little bit. It's like, wow, so the amount of effort that you put into this whole second chances thing is none effort, zero effort, negative effort. And in fact, she does sit down with Brett and is talking. Is like, you should ask out Kayla.
Yeah. Yeah, just like, hey, ask out whoever you want. Don't even
worry about Jared. Ask out Kayla.
Yeah.
Fucking ask out Kayla.
Yeah. And so Brett does ask out Kayla. And we think, because Kayla says yes on the spot immediately. Brett's like, Kayla, will you go on this date with me? Kayla's like, yes. I'm like,
Which
okay.
Jared is bummed about.
Yeah.
And then Kayla, we have to perfectly get the number of
Okay.
reversals.
I tried to take good notes. So Kayla pulls Jared away. And Kayla all of a sudden starts saying, you know what, Jared, I'll stay. And Jared's like, oh my gosh, it's up to you, but I really like you, and I felt really good about us, and I really like spending time with you. And Kayla's like, yeah, I just feel a little bit unsure. And then Jared's like, oh, well, if you feel unsure, then maybe you should go. She's like, yeah, maybe I will go. And then Jared's like, okay, well, it'll be hard for me, but, I want to support you, whatever you want to do. She's like, you know what? No, I'll stay. And then she goes to tell Brett, I think I'm going to stay. But let's go on a walk and talk about it. And then they go on the walk. And then in the process of the walk, she flip-flops like 3 or 4 more times.
Ultimately ending on, okay, I'll go on the date.
Yeah.
And so they...
Says no, says yes, says no, says yes. A lot of people in the Rose Buddies group were suggesting that maybe she was malfunctioning.
No, I mean, she doesn't malfunction anymore. Not since 2.0.
Are you sure?
I mean, yeah, what could possibly get in there? She can eat and digest food like a human being.
And you don't think sand's a problem?
This is... We talked about this. She's got sandproof.
What about the
dermal
crabs,
layers.
though? What about all the crabs,
What,
Griffin?
the crabs are putting out some sort of wireless
No,
signal?
they're crawling in.
If sand can't get through her dermal apparatus, her dermal augmentations, there's certainly, like, crabs aren't getting in there.
Okay, that's a good point.
I mean, maybe she was hacked by operatives. Snowden, maybe it was Edward Snowden.
Are you trying to do like a crossover character situation here?
I forgot how his name was actually pronounced because we pronounced it so many bad ways on the other podcast.
Okay. So she decides to go, and Jared is sad, and Ashley is very excited. Ashley tells us, the viewer, Jared is the new Ashley. She is excited that he is the sad one, and that she...
Just like love, you know?
Yeah.
You know how when we're in love and like, just like something really terrible happens and you start crying and I'm like, yeah!
Now you're like me.
Now you're like me, the sad one. I love your sadness. It pleases me. This date they go on, by the way, is maybe the trashiest date that this show has ever had.
For sure.
Because it was literally just a booze cruise.
Trashier than Senior Frogs.
Which is like, way to go, y'all.
So it's Emily and Carl, Kayla and Brett. They're on like a booze cruise with a bunch of randos.
Hey, Chris, who the fuck are all these people?
It's like it shows the 4 of them dancing in the center of the boat, and then just a bunch of looky-loos standing
You couldn't
around.
book your own cruise booze boat, guys?
Cruise
How
booze?
shoestring is the fucking budget for this project?
Yeah, it was a strange sight to behold.
Although I say that, if the 4 of them were on a big booze cruise boat by themselves, just getting drunk and dancing on each other, that would be the weirdest shit ever. And in fact, I'm 100% sure now, talking about it, that that's exactly what all of the people in charge of the show realized when they got on the booze cruise boat and were like, this sucks and is weird. Everybody who's not holding a camera or a boom mic, get in there, start partying.
Oh, so you think it was...
All producers and best boys and key grips and all that jazz.
Yeah, I guess that... I don't know how big the staff is on this production, but I guess it's probably pretty big. So while they are on this little party situation, Ashley is kind of lurking around Jared. They're both on a beach mattress, and Ashley's like, are you sad? I'm sorry about this. And Jared's like, yeah, I'm a little bummed. And Ashley's like, oh, you can cry if you want to. And he was like, thanks. It was like very apparent.
Yeah.
She was pouncing on this opportunity.
It's hard. What's hard? Do you remember the Jade and Tanner wedding special? Do you remember it?
Griffin, of course I do.
You gave me a look in your face. Well, okay, no, but there's a thing in that special, which was that Ashley and Jared, who like hadn't seen each other much since the first bit, where they kind of hooked up and it didn't work out, and then Ashley started on this conquest, and they were just like buds, and it seemed like a pretty good thing. And I think that's just because like I actually really enjoy Ashley when she's not just doing this one same thing.
Yeah,
That's the only thing
she's entertaining.
She's entertaining. I think she's smart and funny. It's just this one thing that this show just keeps hammering home that I am so completely over, and it's a bummer because like they seem perfectly nice together. And there was a part of me that was like, Jared, why are you entertaining this as much as you like? She's obviously coming at you, trying to like talk you out of being interested in Kayla, and you're kind of entertaining it in a way, but like I don't know, it's hard to hold that against him. I don't think he was stringing her along, considering the previous night he told her in no uncertain terms, we will never date. But
Yeah, so we go back to the date. The date is Emily dancing with Carl. They seem to be having a good time.
She's grinding them on the front of the boat, and at some point, like the DJ like stops the music, and it's like, "How are you guys doing?" And she's like upside down on him, and the DJ holds the mic up to her, and she goes, "Bueno." And I thought that was very funny.
Kayla starts to get uncomfortable though. There's a scene.
Ooh, boy.
There's a scene where the men are supposed to, like, their objective that they have been given is to strip and grind on the women they are with. And Kayla's like, no, thank you.
Like, Brett starts to get on her, and she's like, no,
Thank you.
I'm good.
No. I'm fine.
And then, like, straight up tells him, like, I should not have come on this date with you. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
I have a good thing with Jared, and I want to go home.
Yeah, she's like, when we were about to go on this date, Jared kind of took more of a stand than I've ever seen him take before, and it just kind of clarified some of my feelings for him. So they come back from the date. This is like the shortest date.
And the shittiest.
Yeah. And Kayla pulls Jared aside right away and just says, it's just like, it's the pressure of this, and I hate pressure. But I just wanted, I wanted to be honest with you, and I want us to communicate. And it seems like she doesn't really say, like, this date solidified my feelings for you.
No.
But
It's basically what she was saying.
yeah, it's basically what
this
she's
whole
saying.
conversation, Ashley is literally hiding in the bushes listening to every word.
And then Ashley starts crying again. There is another person that arrives.
I honestly don't even remember.
Ryan B.
I fucking can't. I can't.
Ryan?
Ryan B, Ryan J, Ryan R, Ryan B, Ryan B. Like, I can't remember a single thing about him, including what I saw in this episode I watched yesterday.
He's from Caitlin's season.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What did he do? What's his thing? I don't remember him. I think I'm being gaslit by ABC in the TV show, and these are just strangers that are walking on. And you're like, oh, Carl. Sorry, no, there's never been a man named Carl on the show before. I know very few things in my life. But one of them is that there's never been a Carl on this show before. This is Braden. No, it's not Braden.
So the sad thing is Ryan comes on, and Ryan says that he was actually looking to see if Sarah was still there, and Sarah was not.
Damn it, Daniel. Damn, Daniel.
Yeah.
Back at it again with breaking my heart.
So Ryan talks to Ashley because he knows that Ashley's up for grabs. Ashley talks more about Jared and says, quote, I find Jared to be the entire package.
By the way, they started talking because Jared was like, who you should date.
Oh my God, I have an idea.
And then
Ryan sees right through
Ryan
that.
B says, I think Jared's just trying to foist me off on Ashley. And at that point, actually, now I remember. I remember seeing that and being like, okay,
all right,
Ryan B came to play.
Yeah.
Knows the angles.
So Ryan picks Haley to take on his date.
Which Daniel then makes some bird references. He's a Papa Bear, and how dare he take his pigeon away. And it's like, bears and pigeons don't hang. Bears and pigeons are not known to chill together.
Yeah, Haley kind of dismisses Daniel a little bit to Ryan. Says, Daniel's kind of been following me around. Like, he picked me at the rose ceremony, but, like, nothing's really happening there. And so Ryan and Haley also get their very own horse date.
Oh, that's right.
They ride horses together.
It was good.
That's all I wrote.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all they did. They rode
I remember
horses.
they mounted up the horses on right next to a waterfall. I thought, this is picturesque, but it's extremely dangerous. She's never ridden a horse before, and you're going to make her mount up her first time on wet rocks. That's not good.
And so then we cut back to the group, and Grant has planned a surprise for Lace and tells her to be ready in 30 minutes. And then he takes her to a separate private pavilion where he has arranged for a couples massage.
You always have to have a second palapa. It is so important.
I feel like could we even count? There are so many palapas.
A lot of palapas. It's a regular fucking Ewok village play set up in here.
Maybe that's why Chris Harrison clarified the rose palapa.
And not the rub palapa. Or the boom boom palapa.
So they...
Boom boom palapa is my favorite Black Eyed Peas song.
Could you sing that a little bit?
Boom boom plappa. Boom boom plappa. I'm on that next shit. You're so 2000 and late. I'm so 2000 and great. I don't think those are the words.
No, but you made it current because I believe in the original song they say 2008, and clearly,
Oh, it's not that year anymore though. That
Yeah.
song, Hey, Boom Boom Palapa, came out 8 years ago.
wow.
Yeah. And that's what's ironic is at this point, Fergie, 2008 is 2000 and late.
Being married to you is like being married to Casey Kasem.
It's like being married to a calendar.
Do you know who Casey Kasem is?
God, baby. Yes. I'm 29. I'm not 14.
Okay, I'm just making sure. So they have their massages.
He was the old American Idol judge. He was the one. Ryan Seacrest was like, "Get the fuck out of here, Casey Kasem. This is my gig now." And Casey Kasem left, and no one ever saw him again. I think he hosted like one season of America's Funniest Videos before Burt Bacharach took over.
Okay. Don't do any Wikipedia editing based on what you just heard.
Okay,
So they have their
I
massages.
have a legion of fans who will do that for me. I could say anything right now, and people will go change the here. Hey, did you ever watch Whose Line Is It Anyway with Wayne Knight on it? And just like that, people are gonna like go hop on both those things, Wikipedia pages, and change it.
No, you know what's actually going to happen? They're going to get on YouTube and they're going to find the one time that Wayne Knight guessed it on Whose Line Is It
Shit,
Anyway.
you're right. Shit.
Okay.
He probably did, and I bet he was really funny.
Can we talk more about the state?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't an official date.
It
You know
wasn't
how
an
I
official
hate-
date.
You know how I hate cheating? They cheated the system. You didn't get a date. You don't get to go. This has been this whole season. This has been this whole... I didn't get a date card, but I'm going to date anyway. I got kicked off, but I'm going to come back anyway. Chris Harrison says I can't ride him around like a human horse, but I'm going to do it anyway.
After their massages, they get in a hot tub with some wine. And Grant says that he loves Lace. And she cries and does not say it back.
Doesn't know. That's the important thing here to note.
Yeah. She seems very touched.
She does. Actually,
He says a lot of very nice things about her.
can you be Grant and me be Lace, and you say I love you, or you say I love you to me, and you're Grant and I'm Lace?
Okay. I really enjoyed our time together. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I love you, Lace.
Oh, Grant! What do you love about me particularly? These were quotes.
I forgot about
What
that.
specifically do you love about me? This is the best comeback basically ever to this sentence.
Yeah, she says, "What is it about me?" And so then he like it doesn't even
He
faze
drops
him.
it, yeah.
He's just like, "Oh, you just," and he says all these nice things that I didn't write down. And she tears up a little bit and tells us that she's not ready to say it back yet.
I'm kind of more into Grace than I thought I was going to be. For now, it definitely gets a little sour.
Yeah, I mean, they seem like a good couple. I don't know that I'm ready for them to be in love either.
Yeah, it's too soon.
Too soon.
Keep your heart through
4
stacks.
weeks.
4 weeks is the minimum.
No, well, I mean, that's where they're at. They're at about 4 weeks.
That's fine.
So Izzy decides that she's going to tell Vinny that she's having some doubts. Because she goes and talks to Brett and is pretty honest with Brett, saying like, hey, I'm like super attracted to you, and I just want to be honest about that. And then
What's
Vinny,
Brett supposed to do with that information, I wonder?
well, I think she wants to put out there, hey, I'm kind of into it, and I don't know how you feel, but I just wanted to put it out there that I was, and I know that I'm with Vinny, but there you go.
I'll drop him for you because you
Yeah.
are attract. Okay,
because you have a dark beard, and I like that about you.
that's fine.
And so Vinny oversees them. I don't know if oversees.
Overseas is right. Yes, this is all to my liking. Yes, I find this most agreeable. Yes.
Vinny sees them talking and is like, should I worry about this? Should I be suspicious? And then Izzy comes back and tells him that she is attracted to Brett. And Vinny is very
Vinny
hurt.
takes it really well. Vinny's like, that's a human emotion. I can totally understand that.
Yeah.
That's not what happens.
Vinny is very upset. And basically, by the end of that day, everybody knows about the trouble between Vinny and Izzy. Daniel is shocked. Grant offers some kind of weird commentator perspective.
What did he say? He said something really busted.
I don't know.
Oh, he said that she didn't feel this way when the men had the power and were handing out the roses. She didn't feel this way, I think is what he said. And now that she doesn't need your rose, she's like looking around for other boys or something like that.
No, I just know he went on kind of a long tear, basically like providing all the ways in which this was inappropriate.
Or no, he was saying that when other women were coming in, Vinny, didn't look around and shop around. But as soon as other men started to come in, she did, and that's busted.
Carly
that's
is
also
super...
the whole premise of the fucking television show.
Yeah, I know, that's the show. Carly is super annoyed and judgy of Izzy for being this way. And Vinny very much feels like a second choice. And so Nick is telling him, maybe she'll wake up and realize what she did. And cut to the next morning, and Izzy wakes up, and Vinny goes to find her. And she's like, oh, well, hold on, let me finish putting my makeup on. And
let me get the most low-stakes cliffhanger, basically.
Yeah, that's the cliffhanger.
Is she going to finish drying her hair?
And then the twins do another switcheroo on Carl.
Accidentally this time, though. Carl is, sitting down with Emily. He went on a date with Haley. He went on a date. Which one did he go on a date?
He went on a date with Emily.
Okay. That wasn't me mixing them up. It was more me forgetting who Carl was and what he did. But yes, he was sitting next.
He went on a date with Emily. Haley's sitting next to him, and he's acting like, "Oh yeah, we had a really good time today."
And so Daniel is actually kind of a mensch here because he essentially he walks over and says, "Hey, when was the last time that you saw Emily?" And he's like, "You seen Emily tonight?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have." And he kind of looks over, and it dawns on him, and finally Haley's like, "I'm Haley." And everybody just falls down laughing. Because this is how it should happen. That's how I wanted this Parent Trap thing to happen. Because it was real and beautiful, and the person immediately found out that they were wrong. Yeah. Instead of being sent home and having to find out when they watched the episode on TV.
And so it's time for tonight's episode. And so we cut back to the Vizzy drama. And everybody is saying, oh gosh, they're the strongest couple in paradise. We don't know what to think. And Carly's saying Vinny must feel so blindsided. Just doing a little promotion of her hit single.
One of our friends last night suggested, or maybe it was you, that suggested that he could do a remix of Carly. Okay, so Carly was seeing a guy named Kirk on the last season of BIP. And they did it from episode 1 to the final episode.
To the very final episode.
And in the final episode, Kirk was like, uh-oh, I'm not actually that into her. And they were they had plans to hook up after the show and all this stuff. And literally the last, while people had already left. People who had already decided they weren't in love had already left. And so Kirk was came and took her down to the beach. While they were walking down to the beach, Carly was like, are you breaking up with me or something? Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. And he did it. He did the damn thing, and it was so sad. She wouldn't have gotten through it without Jade, her best friend, just holding her hand.
She wrote a single called "Blindsided." And so and somebody had suggested that Vinny do his own song, and I said, oh well, he could do the remix. Blindsided.
The remix of Blindsided,
which would come in probably pretty hot with him being like, yo 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 yo. It's DJ Vinsane.
Yeah, put him in a straight jacket.
With my girl Carly. It's Blindsided. The remix.
I trusted you. And then he comes in I just came. And then Carly's like, please stop. Please, not while I was that was the emotional climax. Climax!
So Vinny is waiting outside of Izzy's dormitory palapa. And we think Izzy's getting ready, which she probably was, but somehow she comes out with a drink in her hand already.
This is amazing. I can only imagine she leaned out the window of the bathroom where she was getting ready. And she's
Jorge.
like, Jorge, please, I'm about to have a bad interaction. And Jorge just like threw a pina colada up to her. Can we skip their conversation because it's literally the same? Like, I feel like you could compare the dialogue of this conversation and the conversation they had at the end of the last episode.
But this time there's crying.
This time there's much more crying, but it's still like, I saw him and I knew that I just started to doubt this thing I had with you. It's like literally this. Nothing has changed. Nothing's changed. Izzy's still like,
well, but the one
out.
thing that does change is that Vinny basically says, I've chosen to remove myself.
Yeah.
He's so upset by her actions to give up what they had for somebody that she just met, that he's going to leave.
Let me check your gut on this. Let's get into into it.
All right, let's go.
How do you feel about this? Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong?
I don't think either of them is in the wrong.
I don't think so either.
I feel like, I mean, it went down in a way that maybe wasn't the best, but they've been dating for a few weeks. And Izzy hadn't really been tested in any way. And she sees a guy, and so she wants to be honest with Vinny and says, hey, I'm kind of into that guy. I'm thinking about, what it would be like to maybe date him. And Vinny hasn't been tempted by anybody else.
Sure.
And thinks that this is a sign that they should end it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like, I don't think anybody...
I agree with him leaving. I don't think there's any coming back from that. I don't think, like...
Yeah, I guess he...
Especially with the women handing out the roses that week, like, I don't think Vinny's gonna meet somebody.
No, he definitely gets... He kind of gets the last word by removing himself.
Yeah, sure. I feel so like it's like, that's what we do. You gotta swing from vine to vine. Grab the sexiest vine you can and don't let it go.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting about all of this is that Izzy, it's not clear whether she has anything with Brett.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, so she basically threw herself out of contention with Vinny with no safety net of Brett.
Safety Brett.
So,
Anyway, yeah, so Vinny leaves the show.
Vinny leaves, and everybody's real sad about it. All the dudes are mourning him. And Izzy feels super shitty. She's like, I am the worst person.
We don't see anything else for the rest of this hour-long episode of TV except her. Like, whenever we see Izzy, she's crying and being consoled by, like, 4 people who are praying with their hands on her, essentially.
And there's a nice moment where there's 2 birds on a rock in the ocean that you liked.
There's 2 birds, and they're, like, nuzzling, but then one of them flies away. Done it again, editors.
How?
This is what I expect from you, not Pizza Moon. I hate to keep going back to Pizza Moon, but that was a complete failure.
I enjoyed Pizza Moon.
That was a conceptual and a technical failure.
Maybe it was poorly executed, but I thought it was just a
poorly executed, poorly conceived.
Just a pleasant moment.
You just like when round shapes.
And I like pizza a lot.
And the moon.
And the
Love
moon.
The moon. I'm gonna take you to the moon one day, babe.
Yeah?
I bet I probably will. I bet.
Will you lasso it for me?
No, I'll get you on a rocket ship and like take you up to the shit, and you'll touch it and kiss it, the moon.
Okay.
And then I'll get very jealous of the moon, and I'll have to fight the moon. And then who's going to tell the waves how to do their thing, or when women to get their monthlies?
Oh God.
I'll tell you who. Me, the new moon. Look up in the sky. Griffin's beautiful tonight. He told me to get my monthly. And he made some sick waves that I surfed on. I carved up some sick waves today down at Redondo that Griffin whipped up for me. And I was like, thanks, G-Dog. And he's like, no problem. Here's your monthly.
It's like American Tail, where every night a woman looks out to the moon and says, is tonight the night?
Somewhere out there. Griffin's dishing out monthlies. It's a full-time job being the moon.
What weird character you've created.
That's a good character.
No, it's good. It's good. I feel like it's in the pocket of big Tampax, though.
Yeah, a little bit. Sometimes it's true, though, like, around in that beautiful hill country, Texas, and you look up at the sky and I see the moon, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass one day, dude. Just try it. Come down here and say that to my face, the moon. What happened on this episode of Bachelor in Paradise?
So, what could possibly cheer up this group after the strongest couple in paradise has left them?
A little bit of salt in the wound.
And it seems hopeless until Jade and Tanner arrive. And Carly and Ashley freak out because they're big fans of Jade.
The camera cannot whip around fast enough to catch Carly, like, running, like, sprinting full speed to, like, do a launch hug on Jade. Y'all, their friendship is so true and beautiful and powerful, and I'd watch a movie about it.
And everything is better. Everybody is just buoyed by their arrival because they thought, how can
Except
we...
Izzy. I don't think we see Izzy.
Well, no, that's true. So they learned to believe in love again. And Jade and Tanner have been given a very special power.
Telekinesis.
They...
That wasn't even that funny.
I'm just still wound up from the moon talk.
Yeah. Well, you know why? That doesn't even make sense. You're pregnant.
Well, I still talk to the moon.
Yeah, that's a good
I can't
point.
stop talking to the moon while I'm pregnant.
That's a euphemism right there, isn't it? How you doing? Well, I've been talking to the moon the past couple days, so, you know.
Oh, I like that a lot.
I can't. I'm talking to the moon. Sorry.
We should, next time we're at my doctor, we should incorporate that. We should see if she's open to referring to it that way.
Yeah, that's how we get it started, is in the clinical community.
Oh, yes. And approximately how many days a month do you talk to the moon?
When was your last moon talk? So what happens with these dates?
Jade and Tanner get a date card that they are able to give to what they define to be the most deserving couple. So who
the fuck are they to decide?
They are meeting with the couples and then deciding who deserves the date card, which is a lot of power, and everybody treats it as such. Every couple performs for them and answers a series of questions. And so they meet with all the big couples.
The highlight for me was Josh and Amanda, who were doing their whole, like, high school, walking down the hallway, through the middle of the hallway with their hands in each other's jean butt pockets stuff. And when they left, Tanner was like, it felt like they were really putting it on, like, strong for us.
I was so proud of Tanner for commenting on that, because
I liked those two. I forgot how much I liked them.
Josh does this moment where he, like, puts his arm around her and he's just like, oh my gosh, she's just so great. I just can't get enough of her. And Tanner's like, this is weird.
No, come on.
They also talk to Lace and Grant reveals that he has used the L word and Lace has not. And Tanner and Jade are a little uncomfortable about that.
Yeah.
And Lace is like, we really messed that up. Like, treated it like almost like it was a college entrance interview. Just like, we did not do good in there.
No, you did a bad job.
And Grant's like, you're just looking for another reason to push me away. And she's like, no, I feel like it didn't go well. And I'm really concerned about it. And so they talk to all the couples, including the new ones like Nick and Jen. Tanner gives Nick some advice because Nick is, a seasoned veteran. And Tanner's like, well, Nick, just don't hold back. Go for it. Don't leave.
Which was weird because Nick was literally saying, like, my lesson has been learned. I've embarrassed myself twice by going after women and then coming in second place. And it sucks. And it's been very intense. And I didn't want that to happen this time.
Well, yeah.
So
and Tanner's saying, like, Nick, don't leave having held back.
But that's what he's saying. Like, he's saying, like, this time I decided to hold back because the last two times I didn't and it was bad. Yeah. And Tanner's like, have you thought about doing the opposite?
Yeah.
Do the opposite thing.
And they talk to Ashley. And Ashley is like, again, nobody wants me on this season. And I just feel like Kayla is like a faker person. And she thinks that she has really convinced Jade and Tanner, like, oh, don't give it to Kayla and Jared, because I'm telling you on the inside that Kayla is not great. Well, that doesn't convince them. They like Jared. They're rooting for Jared. They like Kayla, so they get the date card.
Ashley says, by the way, this is a fun drinking game. I mentioned this in the Rose Buddies group, but every time that Ashley says the word nightmare, go ahead and take a swig, because it happens 7 times a minute.
Yeah, she says nightmare scenario. She says worst scenario.
Worst nightmare.
Nightmare.
Scenario, worst nightmare. That one didn't make sense. Yeah, she's bummed.
So after this, but before the date, we see Jen and Nick together, and Jen is saying, Nick, I feel like you've had a wall up, and I just want every day for us to be like a progression. She's like, I know it sounds crazy to say that so early in our relationship, but I know that you're not holding back, but we're not really moving forward either. And then Nick says a great line. He's like, yeah, I guess I have been more self-conscious. I just don't want to end up like a Trivial Pursuit question.
It's a fucking really, really good
great
line.
Point, Nick. Yeah.
Because, this failure lost 3 times on... you don't want that. Can we talk about Nick for a second? Because, we were having a big Nick love fest yesterday, because I feel like Nick has been genuinely great this season.
We were thinking about if we could pick Nick for Bachelor.
Not just if we could pick. Maybe they're going to do that shit.
That would be unprecedented. No one from Bachelor in Paradise bounces from that into...
Well, the show's only 3 seasons old. But what would be unprecedented in the last, how many, 10 seasons, is going with somebody who wasn't just on the last season. I think Emily was the last person who that happened to. So, I just can't... Who's it going to be? The edit has been really good for Nick and Bip, right? That's one of the main pieces of evidence. He has been a genuinely super enjoyable dude, and a lot of the shitty stuff he's done in the past kind of been swept under the rug because of this good edit he's been getting.
Yeah.
And why would they do that? Because nobody else is getting a good edit. Nobody else on this show is getting a good edit.
Yeah.
We had some other things that we talked about last night, but I had been drinking.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with Nick. I think we're more excited about Nick than we are, I don't know, Chase.
Anybody else? And there's nobody. I can't even pretend to be excited about Luke anymore. There's Wells, yes, would be great, but that's absolutely not going to happen. It would be Nick before Wells. Mm-hmm. I think it makes sense. I think that would get people talking and watching, and I think it'd be good. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be good. Anyway, let's get back into it.
Anyway, Jared and Kayla's date. So they get to go on a date to the same location that I guess Jade and Tanner had a date.
Yeah.
And Kayla has a really frank conversation with Jared. She says, Ashley's going to be okay. And I feel like we're walking on eggshells. And us doing that isn't really helping us. And Jared really appreciates her honesty. He doesn't get it all defensive. And he says, I just want you to know that when it's just the two of us, I'm thinking about you, and I'm focused on you. And then it is raining very hard.
Very hard. He's got a real case of Josh shirt going.
Yeah, they're very damp. And they go, quote, swimming together?
Nope, that's not what you did. You stood in thigh-high, dirty brown, super opaque river water.
They remove clothes and they stand in this water and make out. And then we cut back to Ashley. And Ashley has decided her new biggest nightmare is that they might go to the fantasy suite together. And then we see Carly and Evan spending some time together. And Carly is just feeling like things are stalling out again because Evan doesn't have what she calls swag. He's not really good at putting the moves on her.
Which is crazy because, she may as well have said that he doesn't have shoulder-mounted laser cannons. And it's like, well, yes, obviously you knew that before we got... He doesn't have a dorsal fin. Yeah, you knew that, though. Like, you knew he didn't have a dorsal fin.
I thought...
He doesn't have 7 eyes. Yes, of course he doesn't. Look.
I thought this would be a fun game, and let me know if this is too mean-spirited. But if we could identify people, not necessarily from the franchise, that we think have more swag than Evan.
You know, this would be mean.
You think it's mean?
I think it would be kind of mean.
I think it's kind of fun, though.
Well, I don't know, babe. It seems like Rick Moranis from Ghostbusters 1.
See?
You're right. No, but it's mean, I feel like. We shouldn't do it.
Pat Sajak has more swag than Evan.
That's it. That's all I'm going to give us, though.
Okay.
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 All right. We're looking at each other fucking eye to eye right now. Both of us
just daring you to keep going. But luckily, Evan gets date card.
Yeah.
And so they have the opportunity to spend some more time together. And what do they get to do? Why, it's another offensive cultural date.
This one was not nearly.
It turned out okay. It turned out
I didn't think
okay.
it was that offensive. They just went to like a sweat lodge, and there were people doing
Well, Carly
sweat
does
lodge.
say, like, oh, Evan will love this stuff because he loves weird stuff.
That's the only, that was maybe the only, like, shady part about it. But I mean, it seemed like an actual sweat lodge that you could go to, and these people work at the sweat lodge, and they'll help you do the sweat lodge. But, like, it's not a bunch of people in costume talking about how they have to do a virgin sacrifice.
No. There's a fire pit, and they are getting very sweaty in there, and then they are encouraged to say what they really feel. And so Evan thanks Carly for all of her acceptance. You know, he knows that he's kind of a strange guy and has all these different parts of him, and that she always accepts them. And she kind of tells us, the viewer, well, I never really actually feel like I was being that accepting, but it does make me want to be more accepting. And then she's really warming up to Evan.
She is, and it's like, this is
She's like, I am sitting there covered in sweat, looking probably my worst, and he is looking at me like I'm radiating, you know, like I'm the most beautiful woman.
I liked this a lot, and it's really hard to not look at the things that happened last week.
Yeah, right.
And ignore and forget that those things happened.
Yeah.
Because, like, boy, the road here was a long and creepy one. But it's kind of cute, though, is the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, Carly says, you know, I like him so much, and it blows my mind that I do. And they pour water on each other. And she tells Evan her kind of piece of honesty is just that, like, you know, each day I fall for you more, and every day is a surprise with you.
Every day is a winding road.
And, you know, you get a little bit closer.
Mm-hmm.
And they make out, and she tells us that her lady boner is back.
Which is good. And he's the one to resurrect that, right? Like,
Who else would it be?
no, I'm saying it's like his profession.
Oh.
Like, for a second there, I was wondering, like, it's kind of weird that we're getting hourly updates on her erection. But, like, it makes sense. I think she might just be getting, like, free medical. This is a stupid line of logic.
And so, if you haven't had enough of Ashley I this week, you're going to get a lot more. Because she decides to hold another offensive against Kayla. And says a number of things that I didn't even want to write down. But she
basically said that Jared loves Ashley more than Kayla. That's not... You have to... Of all the stuff that you say, including that she knows how to please his body, but I know how to make out with his mind, which is heinous.
She's like, I'm his main chick, you know, and I know him better than Kayla ever would. And
of all the things that you say that are completely Bogota, you have to know that he does not love you more than this woman that he's actively pursuing, right? Like, you gotta know, in your heart of hearts, you must know this, right?
Yeah, she's like, I can really dig deep on Jared, and it's kind of fun to threaten Kayla. And so she goes to Jared. And
She went to Jared. That was the first time I think we've done that, because it's like the first time it's like organically popped up.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we held back so long.
Me
Well,
too.
and also this is a Neil Lane house, you know?
That's true. I
Feels
I
unfair.
got your ring at Neil Lane.
No, you didn't.
It was the street Neil Lane here in Austin.
You were really...
It's where the $10 ring store is. It's on Neil Lane.
You were really on your game today.
Thanks, I'm feeling hot. I've had one beer, so...
It's this raspberry lager.
Yeah, it's let me look at the label. 94.6. Whoa!
Whoa!
My favorite oldies station, too. Wow, this thing really works!
Well, you do know who Casey Kasem is.
No, that wasn't so much a Casey Kasem joke. It was just, that's a radio station number, it sounds like.
And she tells Jared that she has concerns and that Kayla's a fake and a robot, which...
I'm glad, Ashley, I'm glad you're a fan, I guess.
Yeah,
But
I'm glad you listened to the show. But we never wanted that information used for ill purposes. And Jared listens and he's like, oh, I know that you wouldn't make this stuff up. I know that you wouldn't just tell me this stuff. This seems valid.
so fucking Jared goes to Kayla and is like, so some people have been talking about how you're hesitant to really lean into this thing, and that you're not I'm more into you than you are into me. And she's like, Jared, who told you these things?
Yeah, Kayla's like, we've been on 2 dates. Each one is better than the other. I have a really good time with you. And you keep saying people are questioning us, and I have a feeling I know who it is. And Jared's like, oh, she's just watching out for me. She didn't say anything bad. And
Kayla says, and what did she say? He's like, oh, that you don't like me. And she's like, okay, this woman's in love with you. He's like, no, don't, come on. No,
I don't think so. Yeah.
It's like, Jared, how do you... This is the bad part about Jared. And I don't think it's a malicious thing, but that's not really much of an excuse. In that, I don't think Ashley would be how she is towards Jared if Jared wasn't
He's receptive to it.
He's receptive to it. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
So
Kayla is like, I gotta go talk to her. This is, if she really doubts my intentions, I'm gonna go tell her what my intentions are. And Kayla is probably the most adult person on the island that day.
Yeah.
She just says,
we also it seems like our Kayla Jared fans. I like Jayla. I like Kyrie.
I think they're really similar, and that neither of them are predisposed to what you might call unbridled passion.
Yeah.
But they're into each other.
And I think I am, I'm not even a big Jared fan, but it's interesting to see this dude who's been on the show a few times before, who has been completely apathetic, finally be into somebody. And there's something that activates something weird inside of me where I'm like, I want to see this guy follow this through. Because I've seen him be a sad sack for 3 years now. And even though I don't love the dude, I kind of want to see him, chase this bliss finally.
Yeah, no, they're both very good communicators.
Especially Kayla right now when she kind of puts the screws to Ashley.
Yeah, she says, hey, Ashley, if this is brought up every day, how are we going to progress in this relationship? How is he ever going to trust me more than he trusts you? And Ashley's like, oh, I don't think that he ever will. And Kayla's like, so I thought you were going to stick around to meet somebody else. And Ashley says, oh, well, I haven't yet.
That was a lie I told everybody so I could stay here.
And Kayla's like, oh, so you're just gonna stay here and sabotage everybody. And she's like, no, I'm just gonna say what I've been hearing, which I thought was weird.
Who?
Who
she
are
keeps
you
saying
hearing?
that I'm not allowed to say what I hear. Who are you hearing it from?
And Kayla admits, she's like, I've been hesitant, but that doesn't mean I don't like him. And that's kind of the cliffhanger for the episode.
Which, like,
And then we get a nice moment of Daniel talking to one of the twins about geography.
this was fun. It's like, I want Ashley to go home. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore about this storyline. I've been over it. And this has been like a fun couple of weeks, I think, but like, it's been fun despite the fact that I just don't care about this storyline anymore. Because seriously, gang, if this is your first time watching it, like, maybe it's novel. I'm so done with it.
Yeah, and maybe, like, and I'm not even on Team Kayla per se, but I also don't believe that Kayla is, like, messing with Jared.
I don't think so either.
I think she's giving it a shot, and they're both good people, and they're trying their best.
This show is trying to tap into tried and true drama veins that are just, they're tapped out, they're plumb dry, they won't produce.
Yeah, and guys, I don't need it. I think that's the thing we've learned from Bachelor in Paradise. I know that they feel like we need big drama as a viewer, but I don't.
Yeah, like, conflict is one thing, and it's an important part of your show, or whatever. I get that, but there's others. Fuck, we didn't check in with Izzy a single time during this thing. We didn't check in with Daniel.
No, we checked in with Izzy because her and Vinnie broke up.
Okay, but then we didn't return to check in with Izzy the whole time. I was saying, didn't hear about anything from Daniel, who the woman
or Josh and Amanda, who've been MIA,
or Ryan B and the twin that went on a date with Ryan B. Like.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff we didn't check in on. Daniel would be interesting because it's like the woman he gave a rose to is now dating somebody else. How's that make Daniel feel, I wonder? I know he's not the most eloquent person there, but I'd rather hear about that than this fucking Ashley stuff again. I don't even care about the people involved anymore. I'm over the story. It sucks. It's a shitty story. It was a fine story, I guess, the first time that it happened. It's a shitty, old story now.
So we get teasers for next week that Lace and Grant are going to have some more trouble, and that Josh is going to get confrontational, looks like after a rose ceremony, because more people are casting doubt on his intentions.
It's because his intentions suck. Otherwise I thought it was a really good week. I mean, there's so much fun stuff to love, and I hate to keep harping on it. It's just, like, so frustrating to, like, because it's the same. I mean, it's not the same as the Rod stuff. Obviously, that was a whole other echelon of horrible. But it does represent this craftsmanship of just, like,
they're just milking it.
We're just gonna do the same fucking thing every episode, and people are gonna keep coming back to it. And it's like, guys, that's not how storytelling has ever worked, reality TV or otherwise. This Ashley thing is so out of legs, and I swear to God, if you do it on the next 2 episodes, it is going to kill this season.
That's what's been interesting about watching Are You the One simultaneously, is there's very little, from what I can see, producer manipulation on that show.
There's also no fat on that show. That show is lean. That show is like, and by the way, we finished it, and it was some of the shit they let Gio and other dudes do on that show and get to stay on the show is literally criminal. But it was a fine season. Otherwise, it's the first time that I've ever watched the season and been like, boy, I hope all these people don't get any money by the end of this.
Yeah, I was really rooting for them.
There were
to
some
fail.
heroes that emerged from the season, but, like, I enjoyed season 3 a lot more than I enjoyed season 4.
Yeah, the dudes were like 98% awful.
Because Gio was like like smashing shit and, like, attacking people or starting fights, like, every single week, and it's like, do you remember that season of America's Next Top Model where a guy tried to headbutt another guy and didn't succeed and was sent home the next day? Like, that's what happened. What happened to that? Do you remember that season of The Real World where the guy, like, tore the blankets off the girl in bed and got sent home? Because, but Gio, like, breaks a vase and jabs it into a guy's neck, and it's like, yeah, you get to stay.
Yeah. MTV has made some choices.
Reality TV has made some fucking choices because, like, God knows ABC should have. Anyway, it's just like Bachelor. Stop telling the same story 10 episodes in a row or 10 seasons in a row because, like, it sucks.
Yeah.
I feel like they get a fine audience with the shit that they pull, right? Like they obviously like they've grown a lot, and I feel like the show has become more of a cultural phenomenon than it ever has. I think it could be an even bigger cultural phenomenon if it had more like broad appeal, if they ditched like the really like the crummiest, shittiest storytelling stuff that they do, and the shitty like human stuff that they do. And made it like have, I think that would give it more broad appeal.
Well, and they have the perfect tool too. And I use the word tool in the nicest way when I talk about Chris Harrison, because Chris Harrison could come in at any point,
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey, Ashley, you know, we let you back on the show, but you have 24 hours to find somebody, or you have to go
that'd be
home."
Cool. That'd be good.
You know,
It's. I think there have probably been multitudes of people who hear people talking about this show like it's a cultural phenomenon, and they watch an episode and they say, "This is garbage. I feel guilty for having watched a single episode of this." And I know that because that's happened in the group. Like, how many people in the group have been like, tried to watch it, think I'm just going to stick to the podcast for now, because there's things that happen on the show that are actively, offensively bad, or just like offensively stupid. And it doesn't need to have that stuff because there's a lot of other good stuff happening in this show.
yeah, and it feels like they almost don't trust or think much of their audience when they lean so hard on the things that aren't actually what we like about it.
But see, at the same time, BIP, I think, is a show that is really nurturing to its audience. Like, BIP is this beautiful gem. I will sing praises of BIP forever because it is a show, I don't think there's ever been a show like it that was made like almost tailored perfectly and exactly for fans of the broader franchise. All of the in jokes and all of like
I bet Real World Road Rules Challenge, or what is called The Challenge, is kind of like that, maybe.
But I don't think that the challenge is not nearly as self-aware as BIP is. The challenge
that's
isn't.
probably
The
true.
challenge doesn't have this layer of like Love Boat metafiction on
Yeah.
top of it like BIP has, and that's what makes a show like BIP so special. So like I feel like, in a weird way, I feel like it's the best and the worst of both worlds, and that I agree with you that I feel like this franchise doesn't think much of the people who watch it, except sometimes BIP is like, it loves the people who watch it. Like this like Bachelor Nation shit, this like calling into Bachelor viewing parties, it's definitely like a growth tactic, but it's also like, that's real, and that's a show like reaching out to its fan base, and there's so much stuff in BIP like that. I just like, that's what I love about this show. Not this same Ashley I shit over and over and over and over and over again. It stinks.
I agree.
Anyway,
Thanks for listening and for watching along with us.
I meant to go to the P.O. box today.
And we didn't.
We didn't do it. Sorry, everybody. It's our first P.O. box. We're learning.
But I wanted to, I don't remember what I was going to say.
You think about it. You got it. What did you want to do?
Oh, I don't remember.
You want to thank our listeners for listening to the show and for joining the Rose Buddies Facebook group and joining in the active live discussion threads on those?
Yes, for sure.
Those are popping off.
Oh, and we never talk about like our Twitter or anything.
Oh, yeah.
We have a Twitter.
We have a Twitter. Well, we have a Rose Buddies Twitter, but we never ever use it. But we have our individual Twitters. What's yours?
Rachel C. McElroy.
C like the letter. Stands for Celia. That's Rachel's middle name. Don't
Yeah.
steal her identity, I swear to God. I'm just Griffin McElroy on Twitter. You can find all the shows that the McElroys do at McElroyshows.com if you want to.
Yeah, along with the P.O. Box info.
And all the Twitter info. Is that it, babe?
That is it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We'll see you next week. When does BIP end? It's got to be coming up soon, right?
I've been trying to figure out the exact end
I
date.
don't think ABC knows. I think they're still filming this show week 2. I think that BIP is being produced like Everlasting is being fictionally produced in Unreal, and that they're like finishing it, and then minutes later they run the tape to the broadcasting studios to get it out there. Sorry, an ambulance just drove by. It scared me.
Yeah, so we haven't yet decided what we're going to do next. I know that Coupled is on Hulu, as is Dating Naked. We're also interested if we can watch it in the Bachelorette Canada.
We may need Daniel to like smuggle in,
Somebody
flash
linked
drives.
to the website, and it looks like we can watch video on there, but we'll have to see what happens when it
Yeah, I
starts
mean, we could
airing.
like pirate it or whatever, but like I don't want to do it if everybody else can't watch
No,
it.
yeah, that's the big thing. We want to at least continue to watch things on platforms that are accessible.
Yeah. That's it for the episode. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Griffin McElroy.
I'm Rachel McElroy.
When you're ready.
Stay with us on this journey of joy.
Spoiler alert!
She ends up with Soldier Boy.
Right reasons, right reasons.